Friends, I have a very special guest today, Bryan Burns, principal of Matthew Halton High School. You probably never heard of that. That's in a little place called Pincher Creek, Alberta. Now, how do I know Pincher Creek, Alberta? For you who don't know me, I grew up in Calgary, Alberta, and I had my parents started in Coleman, Alberta, which is another little town. So I know Southern Alberta very well. And so Pincher Creek was not far away, and I passed by there all the time. Now, Bryan, can you tell me a little bit about your journey to become a principal and how you are in that position now?
Yeah, I'd love to. And thanks for having me on, Dr. Al. It's looking forward to spending some time with you. Yeah, my journey as a principal was one that I was a kid who grew up in Ontario and went through post-secondary at Lakehead University in Thunder Bay. Some friends were doing
this. Is going to be a funny thing because I almost ended up in Lakehead University. You'll say, how did that happen? Well, it happened like this. I went through university. I applied for medical school, and I got rejected. So I applied. My other degree was in psychology, so I applied for a master's of psychology, and I got a full scholarship at Lakehead University. Then, as the demons would have it, I got accepted for medical school, so I had to turn it down. So there was one path going one way and one going the other way, and I ended up going into med school. So that's sort of what happened to you. I mean, you were going through Sault Ste. Marie, you were applying for jobs, and you couldn't find any that suited you.
Yeah, I threw my resumes kind of all over the country looking for a full-time gig, and landed in Brockett, which is about 20 kilometers east of here.
And that's even smaller than Pincher Creek.
Yeah, it certainly is. And like you said, when you mentioned Coleman, my wife's family is actually from there. So we really got some connections here, Dr. Al. And
wow, that is crazy.
Yeah,
my mother's name was Antoinuk, by the way. So there was a lot of Antoinuks in that area.
I'll stash that one and put it in the family chat later and see how close we are connected here with the degrees of separation.
We might be family.
Might be.
Crazy how it is. So tell me a little bit about this journey as a principal. You probably started as a teacher and then you moved up the chain.
Yeah, that's basically it. So I mean, we kind of covered it. Don't think we need to talk about the details, but yeah, teaching, kind of a jack of all trades, not a master at anything. My first job had me doing all grade 9 core subjects, and then I got into the gym, spent half my day in there as well. Got into coaching. So yeah, I've done a lot of roles within the school. Matthew Halton, the current school I'm at, I got a contract here, and I started.
So you've been there for a decade. What keeps you so connected to the school and community? Because in a small town, you can't just be connected to the school without being connected to the community.
It's funny you say that, right? And even just thinking about 10 years and hearing it, I made a lot of connections too, whether it's, I met some really good friends coaching, helping out with the women's hockey team, going to the gym here, just seeing people out in the community, and then getting to know the families here in the building, right? It's some of the staff that we now have in the school I taught, which really made me feel old, but they told me I was an okay teacher, so maybe that's why they got the job.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Culture is the heart of your leadership. What are some intentional ways you build a positive environment for students and staff?
I think you're spot on with that idea of culture, right? And you can think about, these grand schemes and massive pieces, but Sam Demmer brought us together and he mentioned small, consistent actions. And to me, culture is just about having having a sense of belonging that you're there. And so this is a really small and unique example, but each day I wear a different pair of socks that have hot dogs on them, cartoon characters, funny sayings, you name it, right? It's hard to find a dresser shelf at my house because I got all these unique socks. But I'll work with kids in the school, and the first question they ask me is, "What socks are you wearing?" Right? So even when a kid comes down to the office, if maybe they've made a poor choice, the first thing they want to ask me before is, what am I in for in terms of trouble? Is what kind of socks do you have on? Right? So just creating that culture of friendly environment, having some laughs along the way, but that's one way to connect with students that's unique to me. Outside of that, just knowing who they are, right?
Understandable.
How's your dog? How was the dance recital? You just went to this conference last week as a student leader. What'd you learn? Yeah, being relevant in people's
Well,
lives.
as you say, it's the small incremental things. It's the little things we do every day. It's the little things we don't do without worrying. Those are the things that give us passion.
It's exactly that, and not being afraid to explore those things. And like you say, be who you are and have passion, and don't be afraid to knock or open those doors. That people need some of that in their life as well. So,
It's amazing. I find people so limited in their lives that they, how many times do you get the question, how are you? I'm doing. How are you? I'm okay. What is that all about? We're living in one of the greatest societies of all time. We have so many benefits. We have so many tools, and you're okay? Don't give me that.
isn't that something? If you could just transform even that conversation and the dialogue, how it occurs, right? And taking some time and be great, be okay.
Well, exactly. Like you, for example, you concentrate on things from intramurals to hallway chats. You stay closely connected to the schools. So how do these daily interactions influence your school culture?
I think it's again that presence, right? And it's not always there, but sometimes you have to step away from the paperwork side or the meeting side as an administrator and just force yourself to get out there, right? So we got basketball intramurals going on right now, and I asked a couple of the grade sevens, do you want to make a team together? I'd love to play on your team. And just a small thing like that, they thought, why do you want to be on our team? And I thought, well, it's a good opportunity to get to know you, right? And plus, my skills aren't the greatest, so I thought maybe it'd be a good jumping in point. I'd be at their level. So,
Well, that's great. Now, you did something really phenomenal. You might have not thought it was phenomenal, but you launched the first hockey academy at Halton. Now, that's a big achievement. What motivated you to start it, and what impact has it had on students and maybe teachers?
I think to talk about the impact on teachers, at the time I was a teacher. I wasn't in administration, and I went to my principal and I said, "Hey, I think this would be a really great opportunity for students." They said, "Tell me more about it." Made an application package to Hockey Canada. Went through some of the logistics on getting that going, and the kids were thrilled. An opportunity to get on the ice during class time and get some credits and do some learning and team building was great. But one thing I'll highlight with you that I think you'll really appreciate this about students is we had a kid in the program who his attendance was pretty spotty. And there's lots of examples, lots of teachers, lots of great people do this or have a version of this. But we skated on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And when you looked at his attendance report, Tuesday and Thursday was all present. Monday, Wednesday, Friday was pretty empty. So just giving students that sense of belonging. And I think there's other people who've created programs within our building where you see the same impact, right? It gives kids a purpose.
Exactly. Now, you've coached nearly every sport under the sun. How do athletics complement your work in academics and leadership?
It's I think back to some of my coaches, my time in sports, and really it was just about friendship and how to interact as a member of the team. And you mentioned, how does it impact leadership? That's really the essence of leadership, is being on a team with others, right? Whether you're the person leading it, everyone contributes. You and I were just talking before we started this about the Oilers in playoff hockey, right? And those guys on the fourth line, they play a huge role. So you don't have to be the star McDavid or Draisaitl. That's really what culture and leadership is to me. Everyone plays a role.
You know, I think those third and fourth lines are the key to success. You know, the Oilers last year and the year before that had one or two lines. This year, they have four lines. You know, it makes so much difference to be able to count on your third and fourth line. Now, that's also about students. If you can count on them to be the people they are meant to be, that's a huge part. You know, every kid, I shouldn't say kid, please forgive me, every child has a responsibility. Every child has something innate about them. That's great. Every child has an inside genius. Every child has something that can come out and blossom into something fantastic. That's the skill of a great teacher, to take that and help that little plant grow into a big tree.
Even if it's one thing, right, it can really start the domino effect of building that confidence, building that self-esteem, and then the potential is up to the person too, right? And so I just think about, again, reflecting on my journey and some of the people who've inspired me to do the things I do, or continue to grow, right? And I'm sure you've had those people, we all have, and that's really the mark I think that teachers have in school, is how can you inspire others?
Absolutely. How can you inspire others? That's what I find difficult about teaching. Is, I mean, they walk into a classroom and there's 30 blank faces. And it's hard to bring the blank faces into little human beings that want to integrate, that don't want to go on their cell phones all the time, that want to be part of a productive school.
Challenge for sure. It's a big challenge. But like you said, I think it's about that culture piece and understanding how you can make it an environment where people want to be, right? It's I always joked when I was teaching social 30, lots of 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, they don't want to come listen about the Cold War. So how can you actually get them to be engaged in learning when there might be a barrier of something they're not interested in? So yeah, it's a challenge, but it's fun.
You know, and that's where sometimes you have to take them out of the classroom to understand it. You know, that Berlin Wall was truly devastating to people.
Yeah.
Checkpoint Charlie that people had to go through. You know, I was in Berlin just after the wall came down, and boy, was it powerful to see that wall and see how it was. Wow, that was something that was beyond belief, how they segregated a whole society and how Germans couldn't be Germans.
Yeah, powerful. I'm sure just being there, as you said, is just you feel the energy, right? The atmosphere creates. I didn't get that. Oh, sorry about that. That was my phone. It creates something, right, within you, and super powerful.
So how does someone like you, who's so passionate about extracurricular involvement, balance those roles with your administrative responsibilities?
It's within the day, it's a bit flexible. That's kind of one of the perks. We talk about administration. I'm not teaching a ton right now currently, so I have the ability to go into classes and see the cool things that are happening, or lunchtime. Like I book those to me during the day, like it's a meeting, right? Like I got to be there unless something really urgent is happening. So prioritizing for sure, and it doesn't always happen, but it is important to do it during the day. Absolutely.
Okay. That's a key thing. I think you're saying some gold here. Now, you've been known for creating positive experience. What's one initiative or moment you're really proud of?
Yeah, that's you mentioned the hockey academy. I really like that.
Well, you and I were talking about hats that you were wearing. Let's go into
Yeah.
those a little bit.
Okay. Well, we definitely got lots of things. I mentioned the socks. So hats. Whether it's a initiative to me is a pretty big word, right? But just creating an environment where it's okay to have fun and be silly. And so, yeah, just yesterday before we're filming this, it was hat day at school, and I always like to push it a little bit farther. So I started the day with the captain sailor hat. Lots of people saw that, and then at lunch I'm flipping to one where it says it's a bad day to be a hot dog, and there's a bit of a joke around the school that I don't like hot dogs. To each their own, but it's not my thing. And so just doing something like that put a smile on it. Lots of kids' faces, right? Lots of students really enjoying it, and so just small actions. They sound weird to share with you or anyone else who might be watching this without the context, but it's fun. It makes me enjoy what I do. It's a connection piece, and yeah, I'd say I am proud of that.
That's the genius that you are. You're very humble, but at the same time, you've created many positive changes. Now,
Thank you.
outside of school, you're a family man and a trivia night host. How do those parts of your life recharge you from your work in education?
Yeah, that's a question that would have been I wouldn't have known the answer to that. 2 years ago, my wife and I, we had our first child. She was born New Year's Eve, 2023. So stayed up past midnight for the first time in a long time. That was fun. But anyone who I know that has children says that'll change your life for the better. And it doesn't matter the day I'm having. I get to go home or pick up my daughter at daycare and hang out with her, hang out with my wife, and you kind of forget about a lot of the things that might have been a bit of a drag on your day or not the best point. So super recharging, going down the slide, having little rocks thrown at me, all the fun things with my wife and my child for sure. The trivia thing, teachers like to talk is kind of the stereotype. I never thought that was something, but yeah, a friend of mine owns a brewery actually in the Crow's Nest Pass, and they always do events. And she said, we were going to do trivia. We couldn't find someone. It was pretty expensive. Would you do it? And, yeah, sure. I'll do anything once. And then, yeah, we've done it about a dozen times now. So super fun, community oriented. There's lots of the same teams. We have some laughs, and I get some pizza with it. So what can you complain about?
Excellent.
Yeah.
So here's a big question. You can answer it in pieces if you want. What advice would you give to new educators or leaders who want to build strong, positive school cultures like you have at Halton?
It's a really present and relevant question. As I start my leadership journey a few years in now, I think the biggest thing when I'm really internalizing what you're saying is you can't do everything right away. change and the ability to make change takes time, and really to listen to the others around you, right? Get the feedback, get a pulse on what's going on, narrow down your focus maybe on one piece, right? Really find what you think needs the most change, take everyone's input in, and then push your energy to that, right? But you're going to have a million ideas. You're going to say, I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. You can't do it all. And it takes time.
Exactly. Now, I'm going to throw a very tough question at you. What's one thing you'd like to change about education today? If you could choose one, and it was only one, what would that be?
Yeah. Okay. So, you shared with me when you speak, you have your magic wand. So it sounds like you're passing me the wand here. I got one thing to change.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to say the systematic approach to how education is ran does not fit everyone's learning style, learning needs, or abilities. And so within there, what I think I would like to do within that is really create a system that maybe isn't so much to age, isn't so much to standardized testing, really just having it student-centered, specific to the need of what that learner is.
That is really important. And I think in Canada, we follow behind that. We don't do as good as other places because we literally think everybody is in a certain category and they all have to be that certain category. So in other words, that is a fault of what we do. That's something we literally don't take into account, that people need to be different. And there are different pathways. I mean, some kids love automotives and will be great in that. Other kids will literally be better working an industrial job because that's what they're meant to be. Other people might be best in the military. That might be their passion. Other people might be great at academics and go that way. But all of these we have to realize are passions that each and every person can come into. Each and every person can literally achieve. It doesn't have to be something that needs to be the one path. I talked to a Dr. David Kelly of the Nixa High School in Missouri, and he has won awards for being an educator there. And I'd suggest you listen to that show. You can listen on Apple or your favorite station. It's everywhere. It's Dr. David Kelly, the Elite Educator, because it gives pearls on how we can do that. And maybe with some of the things that he's been able to do. Now, he teaches a school with 2,000 students, so it's much easier for him to do it because there's a lot more money involved. But if we can even start it at a grassroots area in your area, it might be something that would be beneficial.
Yeah, it's the ability to explore your passions, right? And you mentioned a minute ago just the pathways, and there are some pathways that are available, but it doesn't always fit the mold of everyone, right?
No. And, I was fortunate. I was always a good student, always went through very well. Lazy in high school. Geez, I barely got through. But, I found my passion, worked my way through, ended up in med school, and then when I was a head cosmetic doctor, a head dermatologist for 30 years. I led the pack, and one of the things I always had was this drive to succeed. Don't know where I got it, but I had this drive. And that's the passion that kids have to be brought onto. that drive, that passion, that hunger. And we got to help them along the way with it.
Yeah, find a way to, like you just shared it, it was in you, but yeah, find someone to open that door and allow you to really to jump into it and see what you can do.
Exactly. Well, Bryan, I got to thank you so much for being here today. I know it's the end of a long day for you. I know you're a little bit tired. You'll go home to your family, but just listen to this when it gets out there. It'll be a couple of weeks. We'll edit it a bit and get it out to the point that it's okay. And you'll enjoy it.
Absolutely. No, I'd like to thank you as well for having me on. And I told you in the opening there, maybe I'd sing happy birthday to you, but I'll save you the ear aches. And
my wife has just texted me and said one of my daughter and one of my youngest grandsons are going to be over. So
there you go. You better
and shut down my computers for the day and just have an evening to myself. So and hopefully watch the hockey game. Go Oilers, go. Go Oilers,
there you go.
Go.
Yeah, I think they're going to do it. But yeah, I hope
wouldn't
you have
it be crazy if we had an Oilers Toronto playoff for a change?
Yeah. I mean, the political climate right now, that'd be a great way to have Alberta, Ontario square off for the cup. That'd be something.
It sure would be. That would tell them that it's our game. It's our game. Just like the Molson or Boston Pizza commercial says, it's our game.
Our game, absolutely. No, I hope you enjoy the birthday, the family, and I hope you have a great evening and get the W there.
Thank you. And friends, make sure you check out every episode of the Elite Educator, because we'll bring golden pearls to you on how to enhance the educational experience for your students. Bye for now and have a fantastic day.